Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network as we bring you live. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt, and we are going to talk all about some Dodgers baseball. They got back at it with the mandatory workouts today. The playoffs so far, boy, the Tigers have been a surprise. I know Tarek Skubal, one of the Dodgers' targets at the trade deadline, has been really good for them for a long – that's why they didn't get rid of him, by the way. And our boy Trey Sweeney actually got a hit the other day. And so I think the biggest part of this is the Padres are up 5-2. We kind of expected them to dominate the Braves, and the Astros still suck.
No, the Astros still suck. We had to say it off there. I didn't know you'd say it on the air. We said it off there.
Oh, yeah. That's a live show, Coach. We get rowdy on the live show.
Yeah, the pressure's on here. I got to watch myself here. We're on a live show. I can't pull it back now. But, yeah, we talked about the Astros sucking before we went on the air, and they do. So, no, that's a great job, Detroit. I mean, I'd love seeing new blood in there. Of course, it hadn't been that long since the Royals were good, too. They did their thing also. So it's great seeing new blood in there. Unless you're the Dodgers, I don't want to see new blood. I want to see the Dodgers again. But it's already excitement going on in Major League playoffs. Great time of the year for us baseball gurus. Not gurus, baseball nuts, I should say.
Yes.
They love baseball, and it's a great time of the year right here, Case.
It's a great time of the year for sports fans, period. I mean, the NFL is in full swing. And that's not necessarily a good thing for a Dallas Cowboys fan, I don't think. But the college football, that's not necessarily a good thing if you live in Oakland, state of Oklahoma, right? But no, seriously. Like Saturday, I mean, the Dodgers start, Oklahoma State's at home against West Virginia. I mean, the NFL is on all day Sunday. Thursday night's going to be cram-packed. My wife and I always go to Buffalo Wild Wings on Thursday nights because they have the buy get for free, so we get 10 wings. Get 10 for free, so that's always fun, and we catch the first half of the NFL game there. But this is just a great time of year to be a sports fan.
Oh, it is. It's a great time. The weather's starting to change. We're getting down to 90 degrees instead of 140
like in Oklahoma,
yeah. So in Oklahoma, we're getting down to 90. So that's cool for us. I even got our hoodie on today, Dodgers Daily hoodie on, but you go to Wild Wings in Stillwater? Where you go, Case? Edmond?
They built one right here on Highway 74 that's about 15 miles from our house.
Okay, yeah. We go to one in Stillwater and watch the Bears. Rex the Bears fan. I'll meet him down there Sunday and watch it. Yeah, the 10 wings on Thursday night's awesome. But anyway.
It is.
No, it's a great time. And even if you happen, I'm not a big NBA fan, but we do have an NBA team in Oklahoma City. The Thunder started their training camp. Things are looking good there. So I'll pay $12 and sit up in the nosebleed section where I can barely see it, but it's cheap, and I'll go to a couple of games. They're fun to watch. So, it's a great time to be a sports fan in America, and everything, whatever you want to watch is there. I'm not a hockey fan. I don't even know when they start because I know nothing about it. So I apologize, you hockey people, but I know it's a great sport.
Anything surprising you in this Padres series?
Not really. I think we talked about it before, Case, that they're just the Braves kind of limped in there. They got some of their key players gone, and the Padres are fully loaded and
but really you had to do it on paper. I mean, you had to do it on the field. That's on paper, right?
Absolutely.
And the game's not over yet. I mean, it's only in the fourth inning,
and they scored 5 runs with 2 outs. That's what we talked about. What the Padres do, they're really good, and we felt like they had the edge over the Braves going in. Like I said, on paper, but they've proven that to be true, and they're just good. They've got a good ball club and. I wish we weren't playing them. You know what? Also, it's good to beat them again. So, there's 2 different ways of looking at that.
Yeah, of course. The Braves still have 5. They have 6 at bats still left to come back from a 5-1 deficit.
Yeah.
But that's going to be tough with that Padres bullpen. Joe Musgrove, who just recorded another out. He's now 11 outs into his performance. Very impressive. And then if the Padres do win tonight, I mean, that kind of acted like a couple of scrimmages for them. Midweek, they get a couple of days rest. They're already in San Diego, and they have a loaded starting staff. I mean, that still leaves them Dylan Cease and then also Yu Darvish, which it'll be interesting for me. I think the Padres had it set up in a 3-game series like this wild card is. You would have had Cease for Game 3. That sets you up for Yu Darvish on Saturday. If the Padres win tonight, if they keep winning like they are 5-1, I think the interesting thing would be, does that mean you move Cease back to Game 1 and now Yu Darvish back to Game 2? Or do you go ahead and start Yu Darvish on Saturday and flip Dylan Cease to Game 2? I think those will be interesting decisions.
And there's some things we probably don't know there, what Dylan Cease is as far as how well he recovers between starts. And
Yes.
there's a lot of things that we don't know, aren't privy to as far as what decisions will be made. But that'll be interesting. I mean, either way, going there, I mean, that's a good. It's going to be a good decision for either way they go. You know, Darvish in the past hasn't had a great playoff run in the past, but he's got some recent success. But you know, I guess I keep whining about when he's with the Dodgers, he didn't have very good play. But he had some other teams. He wasn't a great playoff pitcher, but he is a talented, got all the skills. So he's on, and he's a very good pitcher. So whatever they go with will be fine. The Dodgers, you know, is what it is. It's tough from here on out. Nothing's easy.
Yeah, it would be very difficult for Dodgers fans to stomach the Padres beating the Dodgers out again. I think that the very positive thing that you take away from this is that the Padres were a triple play away from the Dodgers sweeping them this last weekend. And so even with the pitching issues, you know, you're talking about a somewhat compromised Yamamoto, a Walker Buehler to where, hey, we're cautiously optimistic about his last start, but I don't think anybody's totally sold about exactly what you're going to get out of Walker Buehler. And then Jack Flaherty, who, really good pitcher. He's been great this year, but still he's shown signs to where he could give up 3 or 4 runs. So it's a staff that I don't think any Dodgers fan is totally sold on. But I'll say this, okay? With all of that, last weekend you threw Walker Buehler and you started Landon Knack in that 3-game series, and you were a triple play away from sweeping the Padres. And you could make the case that the Dodgers claimed again that regardless of injuries and situations, how they may be, they still have the best roster. Could you make that argument?
Well, no doubt about it. I totally agree with you too, Case. You're a triple play away from going ahead and sweeping that thing. The things they've done for the entire season, but we're not, you know, that's history now. We're going into the new season, but you can definitely make a case that the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. You know, again, we'll go back to the paper before the season even started. Who cares? But whatever. I mean, they've kind of had that title the entire year. Even they had some down times, but they have had some things happen beyond their control. Managers and coaching staff, front office, everybody's handled that stuff pretty well. So here we are again. But I'm not going into this like, man, we got our dudes ready to go. Those are our 3 best pitchers right now. I think we agree with that case with what the Dodgers did. We kind of anticipated them going the route they went there. Right there, they are the best pitcher we got, but there's not anybody you're sitting there going, he's going to go out and throw a 2-hit shutout. You know, you don't get that feeling. But
I don't.
No, not with any of them. But on the backside of that, the bullpen has been tremendous. So I do feel good about that. You're going to have some rest in there. They're not going to have to throw every day. So I feel really good about the way the bullpen has performed. If they hadn't performed like that, I'd feel a lot different about this series going in there. And we all know what the Dodger lineup can do when they're on.
Yeah, they need to be on, no doubt.
Yep.
Hey, I got to talk to Tim Neverett. Tim Neverett is one of the play-by-play voices for the Dodgers. He does mostly radio once the season starts, but he does a lot of the TV games during spring training, and he'll do some TV games during the year. I like the way the Dodgers rotate their announcers, so it's not like you just kind of get stagnant from one night to the next. Although I could listen to Vin Scully every night, twice on Sunday, every day, twice on Sundays.
Yep.
Read the phone book. I mean, Vin Scully's part of the reason, not why I love the Dodgers. Vin Scully, literally, him and Joe Garriola both are part of the reasons why I love baseball. They made baseball an event that I wanted to watch when I was a kid, right? So, anyways, I got to talk to Tim Neverett, who came to the Dodgers from the Boston Red Sox, and he was with the Red Sox, and he was one of their play-by-play voices with them when Mookie Betts was with Boston. And it was interesting listening. I'm going to release that interview in the morning, listening to him talk about Mookie Betts, because when you hear Dodgers fans talk about it, all you hear is, well, he struggled in the playoffs. Well, Tim Neverett's experiences with Mookie Betts was him being an absolute dude when he was with the Red Sox in the playoffs. So, hey, we know it's there in Mookie Betts. This is a huge playoff series for him. He also mentioned that he felt like Max Muncy was getting ready to turn things on. And then we'll get into his talk about Shohei Otani here in a minute. But he echoed one of my sentiments. He really felt like Will Smith was a big key to this series just because of the length that it creates this lineup. The way he takes pitches, he just makes it difficult on the pitchers. And then also the way that he can also do damage and finish innings off.
I think that proves the case that we're not as stupid as we look. I remember us having this same conversation and mentioning, Will Smith, how he's coming around, from the lull he had. And I think the Dodgers did a tremendous job with Austin Barnes, spelling him, and Austin performed great to give Will a chance to come back and get his legs back under him. And we talk about Muncy. Looks like he's – that's good to know that we're not totally idiots over here, Case. We're talking. So, a guy who's follows them every day is saying the same thing. So it makes you feel good about that. That's totally correct. Those guys are doing their damage right there behind the big three up top. That makes for a whole different deal right there. And we all know Teoscar has what he's got in him, Lux. I mean, I feel really good about the lineup right there. I mean, where we are now, Lux has been great the second half of the season and brings a lot to the table there. So that's great to hear him talk about that. I look forward to listening to the interview. A guy who's been around Mookie, everybody goes back to recent history.
I mean, I'm just telling you, he's so sold on Mookie having to go. I mean, it's like that's just what he expects out of Mookie. He doesn't view Mookie the way – that's kind of what I'm saying here, the way Dodgers fans have viewed his last couple of postseasons.
Right, and I think that's – what have you done for me lately is all that is. We all love Mookie. He's a Hall of Fame player, MVP. From all indications, an MVP person. So that all kind of goes hand in hand with those guys, those big timers right there. Usually you have some that can be, jerks, whatever, along the line, still have success. But for the most part, those guys are quality individuals and that sort of thing. Before I can't forget prayers going to Fernando Valenzuela. Don't know the whole story there. Don't need to know. It's none of my business. All I am is a Dodger lover and a Nando lover. And, prayers out to Fernando and the things he's going through right now. I hope we get him back in the booth at some point. He doesn't look well, but again, I'm not a doctor and I'm going to try to be. I'm just a Dodger lover and a Fernando lover. So prayers out there, big guy.
Man, I'm glad you brought that. Also, I mentioned, I meant to mention, I should say, on our show Tuesday morning, Pete Rose, man. Yeah. Hey, let me give you a story about Pete Rose and just hang here with me. We're going to talk plenty about the Dodgers and probably the Padres here in a second. I want to talk a little bit more about my conversation with Tim Neverett, so kind of get your thoughts and some of his thoughts. Okay. But in the early 80s, Oklahoma City was the AAA affiliates of the Philadelphia Phillies. That's back when they were the cardiac Phillies. They had won a World Series or two. They had Tug McGraw. They had Steve Carlton. They had the Pete Rose, Larry Bud. I mean, they were loaded, right? And so back then they would have exhibitions. So the major league team would come to both the AAA and the AA facility and play the AAA team and the AA team at the facility. So every year the Phillies would come to, back then, All Sports Stadium, which was where AAA Oklahoma City played before we had Bricktown Ballpark. And my dad umpired the game. And to this day, it's still the largest crowd ever to see a baseball game in Oklahoma. I believe it was like 16,000 people. And I got to sit in the dugout the entire game. Oh, man. And I can tell, it's the reason why my first dog when I was an adult was named Tug after Tug McGraw, because he was the coolest dude of all time. He sat there and talked to me the whole time. Pete Rose played all 9 innings of that game. He did not come out of that exhibition. And my dad stopped him after the game, coming off as the umpire. And he said, Pete, all these other guys came out. I mean, this is an exhibition game. He said, why did you play the whole game? He goes, Mr. Umpire, these people here came to see the major leaguers for the Phillies play. Some of them came to watch Pete Rose, and by God, they're going to watch Pete Rose play 9 innings the way Pete Rose normally plays. And I was standing 2 feet from him saying that. And I was like, oh, my God. I mean, that was like one of the most influential moments. It's like, wow, that's Pete Rose just said that. So I wanted to bring up Pete Rose. I can tell you, whatever you think about him, it was all genuine.
No, exactly right. I mean, you see a lot of things now since he passed, people talking about him. I think one guy, a good friend of mine at ours in Oklahoma City, Tony Sellers, posted, he had a video of him interviewing Pete, probably the same game you were talking about.
Probably was.
Tony did TV here in KLCO. And he made a good point. He says, I forget how you put it, but he says, Pete will be judged by someone else now. I think that's how we need to look at it. We're talking about a great ball player. And like you just said, what he did in Oklahoma City, these Oklahoma City people don't get to see major leaguers come through here very often.
Right.
Ever. We never get to see major leaguers
not the major league team,
No, that's what I mean. The major league team doesn't come. We see them in their minor leaguers, but we don't see them in their stars. So that doesn't surprise you. And I think Johnny Bench, they always had stories about him and Johnny Bench butting heads.
Yeah.
And Johnny said we did. He said, but I never saw him when we didn't hug each other and shake hands and hug each other. He said he was the hardest worker, the most intense baseball player he ever been around his life. He totally worked at baseball. He loved baseball. He worked at it. He did it all the time. It's sad he's not in the Hall of Fame. Rules are rules. I'm not going to get into that. It's not my place. All I know is he was a great, great ball player. And hits record will probably never be touched. And the way he approached the game, the way he played it. Again, I go back and I hated him, Case, because I hated the Big Red Machine because they beat my Dodgers every year. But the respect was always there.
No doubt about
those
that.
Players right there. So, sad time in baseball.
You can attest to this. I was always number 14 growing up every single year until I played for you because 14 wasn't available because I was too young and somebody else had it, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to change it. I was number 14 because of Pete Rose and because of that day I got to spend with him in Oklahoma City. Okay, so wanted to make sure and give Pete Rose his proper due. I know this is the Dodgers show, but it is also a baseball show. We are baseball purists, and I just felt like we needed to talk about that.
Totally.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. So, okay, let's get back into the Padres series, Coach. Jack Flaherty here. I've mentioned this a couple times. I'll say it again for maybe some fans that don't catch every single show. When you just sit down and look at it, you think the Padres probably have the advantage in the starting pitching. But I'm going to say it again, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, if he's on, the Padres aren't going to hit that guy. As good as they are with putting the ball in play, gathering hits, Yoshinobu Yamamoto could go out there and throw 4 or 5 innings, 1-run baseball, right?
Yeah.
And then so can Jack Flaherty. I mean, Jack Flaherty we know can shove, and he could do it for 6 innings. So the formula has to be that the Dodgers have to win their games. Flaherty has to win his game. I hate to put too much pressure on that situation, but to me it is what it is. Because if he does that and then Yamamoto wins his games, now you're up 2-0, right? Now you're kind of playing with house money with a Walker Buehler that could go shove too. I mean, he's capable of shoving. But what you don't want to be is in a situation to where you have the unpredictability of Walker Buehler when you're tied 1-1 or certainly down 0-2. That's what you really got to avoid. And I think it was the Tigers today won their round with a bullpen game. I thought that was interesting.
No, I never watched the Tigers for obvious reasons. I watched them a little bit because Ryan Valade was with them, a good friend of ours. Ryan was up with them early before James.
You coached Ryan, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I did not coach him. Okay. No, but I got to know him, and James is a close friend of yours, mine both. Great baseball man down in Texas. But so the Tigers, the Dodgers. Yeah, you don't want to get in the situation where Buehler has all that pressure on him out there. As we talked about before, in the playoffs, the reason why this is so tough, just look at what you had there. I mean, the freaking Orioles scored 1 run in 2 games.
Yeah.
And they're loaded, at home. The Astros don't do anything at home. These cats, these young dudes, these teams, the Royals, the Tigers, the Padres are running these cats out there. There's no room for error. There's just really not, because you're seeing everybody's dudes, you're seeing everybody's dude starter, everybody's dude in the pen. That's what it's supposed to be. It's just that good. And like you said, Case, the Dodger Stadium is beautiful. It's historic. It's a place we love. I'll spread my ashes on home plate if that's possible when I pass. But let's face it, San Diego's got a great environment there now. They're starving. They never won anything. honestly. They're starving for a champion there, and they got a team that's capable of doing that. We don't want to get in there, go down at home, and then go back into that place right there, because credit to them. I don't know if they do it every night because I don't follow the stinking guys, but I know in playoff time they show up, which everybody does. But in San Diego, they are bringing the heat. So you don't want to walk in there down or even tied, to be honest with you. I mean, you'd be fine if you're tied. The Dodgers are good enough to win anywhere. Let's don't kid ourselves, and let's don't sit there and act like, they get down 2-0. They're good enough to win against anybody, anytime, anywhere. So I don't care where they play. I'm just saying you don't want that added pressure when you're down.
I just don't know that Walker Buehler's ready for that type of pressure.
I agree.
In terms of his ability to be able to execute. He can handle it mentally. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't know that physically he's a good enough pitcher right now to be able to rely on that. To be the stopper like that.
Yeah, and the Padres play well at home. They feed off that's the other part, Case. They're good anywhere they go, but they're going to feed off that environment they have there in San Diego. That's everybody has an environment this time of year, but I'm just saying they have proven those people are starving for a championship team, and they're going to come. They're going to be loud and whatever. Dodger fans will be there too. They're always there.
Of course, we're kind of jumping the gun here. This still is 5-1, bottom of the fourth inning. The Braves still have time to come back, and I'm praying that happens. We said that even on our Tuesday show.
Yep.
It would be a miracle if it did. They are playing a depleted Braves team. This is nothing more. I'm giving the Padres no credit for this if they beat the Braves, because this is no more than just an inter-squad scrimmage for them. Hey, every major league team is good, but this is a major league team for the Braves, yes, and they snuck their way in. But it is a very depleted Braves team, and they've got some guys that aren't performing the way that they expected them to. So, this is nothing that I don't think Dodgers fans shouldn't expect. And, hey, you said something here that I thought was very interesting. And I think this is a little bit of a missed narrative, okay? And I'm not saying you were having a missed narrative here.
Right.
But, yes, the Padres are hungry. I don't disagree with that. But, damn it, you can't convince me that Shohei Otani's not as hungry as anybody in the world. You can't convince me that Mookie Betts isn't as hungry as anybody in the world to go out and prove that last year in the playoffs was a fluke. You can't convince me Walker Buehler's not hungry to prove that he is still Walker Buehler. You can't convince me that Dave Roberts isn't hungry to tell Dodgers fans to shut the hell up and that he's a hell of a good manager, right? You just will not be able to convince me that the Dodgers don't have every bit of the same amount of reasons, if not more, than the Padres to be as hungry or more than they are.
There's no doubt about it. Well, the Dodgers
getting fired up, Coach. I'm ready. We got to wait till Saturday, damn it.
I know. The Dodgers may have. I was talking about their fans, by the way. I don't give a damn how fired up the Padres players are, because it's what you just said. I was talking about their environment, their fans. They're players, yes, but like I said, this is Otani's first time ever the playoffs.
You think Yamamoto's not incentivized to go out there and shove? Come on, man. Jack Flaherty, are you kidding me?
Hey, the only ones that shouldn't be relaxed aren't even playing. So Rangers, they won it last year. They were they feel pretty good about themselves, but they're all gone fishing, as they say, or whatever they're doing, because they didn't even make the playoffs this year. So everybody that's in the playoffs is hungry. Because last year's the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, and neither one of them cats are around. Everybody that's playing right now is playing for a championship. Some of them it's been a long time. Dodgers went from 88 to 2020 without one. And, a lot of people want to asterisk that just because of whatever. I don't give a crap. It was actually a tougher tournament to win, even though the stands are empty down in Texas. It's actually tougher for them to win that on the field, what they had to go through, how many series they had to play. But anyway, we don't get into that. But I'm just saying, there ain't no doubt.
I'm just not buying the hungry crap. I just don't think the Padres are more hungry than Dodgers. Than the Dodgers.
No, there ain't no way they are. There ain't anybody any hungrier than all these guys are. All the major league players are. Like I said, unless you played with the Rangers last year, you're pretty damn hungry. You haven't won a title. And you're San Diego, you hadn't won ever. The Dodgers, outside of a few guys, have never won one. They've never.
You think Miguel Rojas isn't hungry right now?
Never even been in the playoffs. Hell, this is big time stuff. Yeah, the players are all. I promise you, they're locked in. Yeah. I'm just talking about the fans there in San Diego, and they've never won. So there you go.
Yeah. Last year was a little bit tough because. This, Coach. When you're in a dugout and your dude goes out like Clayton Kershaw and gives up 7 runs before you have 3 outs on the board.
Right.
It can show up like there's no hunger there because it's shock. It's literally shock, and you're just kind of sitting there going, okay, what the hell do we do? Right? It's not that it's just you've been knocked off of your axis, right? And so even if you're a professional, that one's very difficult to overcome. And then when you're throwing Lance Lynn and he's given up the amount of home runs he gives, I think a lot of that, the not showing up part of it can be related to the fact that the pitching was so shaky. That could happen again because, you're talking about, but I still think Jack Flaherty and Yoshinobu Yamamoto are better than any two pitchers the Dodgers could have put out their last playoff series.
Well, the Dodgers bullpen wasn't as good last year. Let's face it, where they are right now, going into the playoffs right now, the way they're performing. So there's that other part. What are you going to do? Yeah, you can get pissed off and pull Kershaw out, but it's just going to get worse. You don't have much. Kelly was pitching pretty well last year, but I mean, for the most part, as a unit, the bullpen is a lot better this year. Right now. Now, I'm not saying I don't care about the regular season. Right now, going into the playoffs, the way they've been performing, so you have that. That's different than last year. Like you said, we limped into. I mean, we kind of cruised into last year. We kind of just cruised in there. I still love the fact they've had to play their ass off all the way up to the end of the year,
and then beat the Padres
to do it. So don't take that lightly. The Dodgers. I know they got a few days off here, but they weren't any coasting going on this year. There wasn't. I mean, if there was, it changed real damn quick because the Diamondbacks were playing well for a while, but they didn't last. But the Padres came on and stayed coming on. So, I think they're more prepared, quote unquote. And hell, I've been wrong a thousand times in my life. But I think we're more prepared for the playoff run this year than we were last year. And there's no doubt we're a better team.
Yep. What a dumbass comment. Yeah, you have Shohei Otani this year, absolutely.
Yep.
And you've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you got Jack Flaherty. So I think your top starting pitchers are better. I think your bullpen's probably similar. I think you got Teo Hernandez. Yeah, I think you're definitely a better team this year. What a dumbass comment that was by, I can't remember his name, the owner or GM of the Diamondbacks, saying that it was his fault because he signed Jordan Montgomery. What the hell? What are you doing? What a dumb comment. Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that.
I mean, how are you ever going to get a free agent from here on out if you're blaming it on one of the free agents that you signed, right? I mean, that affects the Dodgers. We're talking about this show because that's one of the Dodgers' opponents there, and they didn't make it. So we always talk about how the Dodgers don't panic. I mean, you talk about a comment made out of panic. That was terrible.
That's why owners need to be owners. They need to be billionaires, whatever the hell they are, set up in their house and write checks. That's the greatest ones have been that way. Again, I don't want to get into my Dallas Cowboys because my owner is the general manager. I think he's a great owner. I can't stand him as a general manager. I'll leave it at that. But owners need to just keep their mouth shut, write checks. Give it to the guys that are running the baseball operations. To them, go. Here's the money. Go get whatever the heck you need for us to be successful because we got the money. Everybody's got the stinking money, unless you're the Oakland A's. Maybe they don't have any money, but the rest of all the major league teams that have money coming in. So, that was a stupid comment. And, again, I can say it because I'm not a billionaire. Just go be a damn owner, write checks, and let the baseball people take care of the baseball. Yeah. And if you're football, let the football people take care
absolutely.
I'll throw
Jerry Jones. Yes, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'll tell you another thing, Coach. I asked Tim Neverett about this, and it was kind of like, boy, I don't know. It was one of those deals. So how do you keep the guys loose? They're professionals. I get it. They're the greatest players in the world, Mookie Betts, FreddieFreeman, Shohei Otani, that kind of thing. But how do you keep them from getting too uptight in this situation where they have a whole week to think about it? They have all this pressure on them. Because one of the first questions I asked Tim was, is this World Series or is this year a disappointment? And he point blank, he did not dodge the question. He said, one thing I love about working for the Dodgers is that this is an organization that it is World Series or bust for everybody in this organization, from Andrew Friedman to Dave Roberts to everybody else. So absolutely, if you don't make the World Series or win the World Series, it's always a disappointment for the Dodgers. And not everybody can say that. He said, there are some organizations to where if you break 500, you win two more games and you lose, that's a good season for that, or not the Dodgers. So he said he loves the fact that the Dodgers feel like that. So for an organization that feels like it's World Series or bust, it's had a couple of busts lately, you have the week off. How do you keep your guys from getting too uptight? He was like, man, good question.
Well, I think that's something that, I haven't heard too much. Maybe I just hadn't been reading enough of how they're approaching those days off. Last year they made a big deal out of it. And then they come out and the Braves come out and both get smoked after all that time off. And now we got fired, add more fire to to it. It's true now. Oh crap, they were right. They had all that time off and they got drilled.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if there's a good answer to that case. I mean,
there isn't a good answer. That's the problem. Nobody has an answer.
There's no answer to that.
That's the biggest thing. That's my biggest worry, Coach. And I'm a worry wart. You know that. But
I know. But I mean, there is no answer to that. These are professionals, the greatest players on the face of the earth. On every team, they're the greatest players on the face of the earth. I don't think there is an answer. It's like going up to a guy. He still have people come up to me. Hey, who you throwing tonight? I tell him, is he ready? Well, hell, I don't know. I'll tell you once he gets out there and starts throwing. He's my best available pitcher. He's been a guy for us all year. He's my best guy today. He's throwing today. Hell, I don't know if he's ready or not. We'll find out when he gets out there. I don't know how he's going to handle the pressure or an umpire that's not giving the strike zones this big.
The pitch he actually needs to be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there's so many things you can't control in baseball from our level all the way up. Case that there's not an answer to that. You're just sitting there going, just let it all hang out, guys. I mean, they all feel pressure. The Dodgers may feel it more than anybody, but that's okay. Those guys have had it their whole life. They've had it pressure their whole life.
Yep.
I can't remember which football player it was. You probably remember the guy asking about pressure. He goes, no, pressure's when my mom was by herself raising 6 kids and we didn't have any damn money for food. That's pressure. This is not pressure compared to that.
This is not pressure.
That puts it in perspective for you.
Yeah. Pressure is whenever you're on the golf course with your buddy and you got $4 in your pocket and you bet them $10 you're going to make the putt. That's pressure right there. Because you don't want you don't want to let your buddy down right there, right? Hey, but I'll say that this was his biggest response to that. Okay. And this just goes to show how great this Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily community is. Coach, as you get more familiar with these posters and our wonderful moderator Mike Salas, who does great work with Dodgers Beat over there on the Dodgers Bleedlos podcast, is in the chat. He says, first of all, Yamamoto will be locked in. Coach, Yamamoto has huge experience in big environments. But and Mike is exactly correct there. Tomatley absolutely hit spot on exactly what Tim Neverett said. And he said, I'm interested in seeing how Shohei Otani handles this environment. We had a big conversation about it's 50-50 the day that he got it in Miami. Tim took us through the day, took us through the all the events and the couple of stolen bases, the 3 home runs in a row and all that. It's really cool, so check that out tomorrow. But I say that to say, Tomatley just echoed what Tim Neverett said. He said, I'm interested in seeing how Shohei Otani handles the pressure of this situation for the first time. Yep. He said, but if it's anywhere close as to how he handled the World Baseball Classic, let's get it on, right?
Yes.
So, hey, make no mistake about it. This is Shohei Otani's team. He is the leader, and we have and I mentioned this with Tim, and I told him I mentioned this to you in our podcast the other day, that to me, we haven't talked a lot about the 50-50, all the individual stuff yet. Sure. We'll have all off season to talk about it. And I told him that's because we have felt like it's more important for Shohei Otani right now to win a World Series than it is to do anything individually. He is the leader of this team, and I think he's going to show up. I think his World Baseball Classic experience kind of shows you what he's going to do on this stage.
Yeah, don't take that for granted about being a big stage. Yamamoto too. I mean, that was definitely the greatest players in the world all playing against each other, and that there was a pressure on them to win, and they performed great. So they've been on the big stage, and that's what I mean. These guys have all lived with pressure their entire lives, their entire professional lives, as far as to perform there. Freddie, Mookie, go right down the stinking list. All of them were the best players on their teams in high school, I promise you. If they went to college, they're the best college player on their team or one of them. They've always had the pressure. You're our guy. You have to perform. Now there's 9. Now that there's a team coming together, and you have to perform. You have to play for each other. If somebody fails, you got to pick up the team. Hey, pick me up. How many times a player looked at another player and go, "Hey, pick me up, man. Pick me up." And that's the history of baseball. So there's nothing going away there.
Well, about 90% of the time after one of my at bats, right?
Well, a state tournament a couple of years, and your mom got on you a little bit. I didn't get on you as bad as your mom.
I got quite an ass chewing that day.
But you're in the lineup the next day and we won a state title. So there you go. Because I had faith in you. Had faith and love that you're going to do the job, and you did. Absolutely. So come up with big plays and hits. That's what I'm saying. From our level, our experiences here at Case on up, that's the way this is going to go. The Dodgers, I'll be shocked if Otani didn't have a great. The thing about him, he is so talented. He can get fooled and look like crap and still bang a double somewhere because he has that much talent.
Yeah, he does.
If he gets on base, he's still second and third if we need.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
That's
the consistent nature of which he's able to hit the ball 100 miles an hour just over and over. There's just so much margin for error, and that even if you are a little bit off, if you're still hitting 100 miles an hour ground balls, those are still going to turn. They're not home runs, but they're base hits. There's just such a large margin for error for that guy, and then. What that does is if he's able to get some hits and get some things strung together, maybe get you a lead like we've seen many times him do, that has to relax Mookie behind him because none of these guys feel like they have to do it by themselves. I will say this. I think Mookie and Freddie felt like last year they had to do it by themselves offensively. I don't know that they actually did, but I think they felt that way. I think this is going to be an offensive mentality to where everybody feels like because they have Shohei Otani now, because we have Teo, Tommy Edman, who's at least going to put the ball in play.
Yep.
Gavin Lux is a better offensive player now. They're going to feel like you said, hey, pick me up, man. My bad. I didn't get my job. I think they're going to feel like there's more capability of doing that. And that's when you really start getting relaxed offensively, is when you feel like the guy behind you can get it done if you don't, right?
That's the great thing about team sports, especially this one, and when we're getting ready to watch. Pick me up, dude. I mean, and I can't say it enough. You're playing for each other. The team that's going to win the World Series, I promise you, those cats are playing for each other. I don't care if I get any. I don't want anything. I don't want any accolades. I want to win a freaking World Series, and that's historically the way this thing turns out. And Otani he is just so. Let's don't forget, Case. He almost won the freaking Triple Crown. When's the last time that almost happened? 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. The hell with that? He hit 310. He was close to winning the Triple Crown, which hardly ever happens. That is more rare than a freaking
Can you tell we're excited tonight? We're ready to get things
going. That's harder to do than a freaking perfect game, and those are very hard to do. But so let's don't he's been fooled and still hit a single or a double because he's that freaking good. So that's great. God, I'm glad he's on our team, and I love our team. I love where they are right now.
Yeah.
They got work to do. They got great teams in front of them. I don't give a crap. I got faith in our team and our guys.
Let's go. I just, like I said, I'm just not buying the not hungry. The Padres are hungrier in there. I'm just not at all buying that. I will say, like I said earlier, the biggest concern I have is just getting these guys to relax. It's going to be the exact opposite of not being hungry. They're going to be so hungry, I think they're going to be uptight. And so they're just going to need somebody like a Will Smith to just step into one and say, screw it, guys, let's go. It's time to go. Let's get things going and that kind of deal. So, man, I'm telling you, like, you can hear us talk right now. Our competitive juices are just flowing. Right? I mean, it's like, damn, man, it's Wednesday. We got to wait all the way till Saturday to get this crap going, right? So you can only imagine how the players feel right now. But hey, Coach, we have a great crowd logging in. Want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Dodger fans, baby, the best there are.
There, no doubt. And you'll find it's not the biggest crowd, Coach, but Dodgers Dogs, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, has absolutely the most intelligent fans of any Dodger site out there. I will put that up against any other site. Nando, good evening, says Max Fried is kind of overhyped, definitely has been. Mike Boyer, good evening to you. Wilmer Edwards, as much as I like the Dodgers, I think the Padres are winning the World Series. I think we've been cheerleading for now about 30 minutes. We've been giving all of our reasons.
Sure.
Why, as a coach, I would be convincing my team. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm taking myself through the stage of all the things I would say to my team to get them to believe that, God damn it, we ain't losing to these freaking people.
Yeah.
This is the kind of narrative that I would feed these guys. Having said that, we are cheerleading. I think if you stop and you look at it from an analytical perspective, I think if you're not a fan either way, probably the Padres would be favored. I haven't checked their score with the Braves. 5-2 now, so the Braves are working their way back. But if the Padres do win, I think objectively you could definitely make the case the Padres would be favored. Maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not into that stuff. I don't bet. I'm too much of a cheapskate to bet because
Right, me too.
if I lose $2, I get pissed off. So that's not good for you. You're not a good bettor if you do that. So I don't know. I mean, I think we talked about they might have the edge with the starting pitching if you go head to head. I think we talked about before the series started, the last series.
Yeah, right.
I would that might be true. But the Dodgers, the best lineup, the best lineup from top to bottom. I don't think, even though the Padres got a good lineup, I think the Dodgers have the best lineup top to bottom. The Padres got a good pin, but the way the Dodgers pin was performed at the end of the year. So I don't know. It's just if I don't even know who's a favorite. Don't even give a crap. But they may be, but it doesn't matter. I mean. Just get out there and get it done. Nobody had the Royals and the Tigers moving on either, probably.
Yeah, right. And hey, nobody sneaks up on anybody at this time of the season. But if there is the ultimate anti-sneaking up on somebody, it would be the Padres sneaking up on the Dodgers. I mean, that absolutely is not going to happen. It just seems like the Padres they have dominated the Dodgers in the regular season this year. They beat them the last time they played in the playoffs. You can't deny any of that.
Yep.
But still, having said that, it just feels like the Padres are wanting a certain amount of respect that maybe they haven't earned yet.
I agree with that. We call it here, and we can relate to the little brother. Okay, the little brother syndrome.
Ooh, Coach coming in hot tonight.
I'm coming in with a little brother deal there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know how much respect I got for him. I'm not even going to say the C word. I love Cronenworth. That's the last time I hear me say that.
No, you're not allowed to say that. We are on a moratorium for his name.
Yeah, last time I said that, he killed us. So, but anyway, I love that.
And you got about 8 text messages that weren't polite.
I should, but I'm just saying I got a lot of respect for that team. But what the heck, man? I mean, that's what I was getting back to the crowd.
Yes,
they're hungry because they've never won anything. I mean, I'm not saying it bad. I mean, it's a fact. I didn't. It's not my fault. I didn't make it up. It's just what it is. What it is. And that little brother always trying to, always bugging you and trying to take over and can't quite get there. I'll call it the little brother deal. I don't know. I've been wrong before. They may come out and beat us four straight, and anybody tell me to go to hell and whatever. That won't be the first time, the last time, but that's what we do here. We talk baseball. We give our opinions about things, and we love the Dodgers. But that's kind of what I take of it. They're wanting respect, but they really haven't earned it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I know they won the regular season.
Not the amount that they want.
No, not the amount that they want. As far as,
they have everybody's respect in the Dodgers organization.
As a team, there's no sneaking up on anybody now. The Dodgers have to work.
It's like they want the Dodgers to be intimidated by them. It's like, get the hell out of here with that.
Not happening.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. That the Dodgers are intimidated by them. And this, if you look around at all the first round series are going to be going on, this is the granddaddy of them all, baby. I mean, this could possibly be the two best teams in baseball playing in the first divisional round here.
Yeah, and hopefully we're talking about this whole Padres thing for naught, because the Braves come back and figure out a way to score 4 runs and then beat the Padres tomorrow night. That would be really cool too.
That'd be awesome.
That would be. We're following that. That is 5-2 now at the end of the 5th inning. So 4 innings to go. Padres have a lead in that game. NorCal Eddie, thank you so much for joining. Padres better be scared. Dodgers are hot. Nando 390 free doing his best October Kershaw impression. Mike Boyer, good evening. Would hate if the Pods knocked out the Dodgers, no doubt about that. Keep it moving. Want to thank you so much. You've made some wonderful comments here tonight. Braves already threw in the towel. Let's hope that they've got a little bit left in the tank. Max Fried played with a back spasm. Yes, Padres had the easiest round 1 wild card series, no doubt about that. Glad the Padres are sweeping to break up the rhythm. I would rather see the Padres have to go 3 because I would rather see them have to throw Dylan Cease.
I'd like to see them go 3, and the last one goes about 15 innings. That's probably not going to happen, but that would be great to have to use everybody up, and not use them up, but kind of use everybody up through Thursday. I mean, they'll get really just one full day of rest before Saturday starts up. So, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but hell, it's not over yet either. It could happen.
Here's a great point, and I don't mean to be like preaching or anything, but man, if you're at the game, the Dodger Stadium's known for showing up late, leaving early, laid back, that California vibe to it, that kind of thing. So if you're Mike will tell you this, our moderator, he was there last year, that there needs to be The phones need to be in your pocket. Okay, yeah, I'll take a picture or whatever, but you don't need to be posting on Facebook while Shohei Otani's trying to get a big hit, right? This needs to be a crowd that affects the game at Dodger Stadium. Now, a lot of that has to do with don't go out and give up 7 runs early on and take the crowd entirely out of it.
Yep.
So the Dodgers need to come out and do something early that is very positive, get the crowd in the game, and then Dodgers fans need to stay on their A game, and they need to not let up the Padres and make the Padres feel like they are playing against 10 people.
Yeah, they're walking into a historic stadium, I mean, Dodger Stadium, not only a beautiful stadium, it's historic and great games and great players have played through there. Let them know what you're all about there. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, we can't change the way people act, but there also ought to be some, hey, it's the stinking Padres too. They bring a little bit more heat. These guys are trying to take something away from you. So get loud, get proud, let it rip. And I know most of the Dodger fans will do that. I didn't really notice as much. Again, I'm not their case. It's what I watch on TV. I didn't really notice them leaving as early as much. The guys that are there probably know more about their saying, shut up, coach. They do it all the time. They come late, leave early. They may still do that. That was always the vibe back in the day. The TV cameras would pan out in the 7th inning of the parking lot, see all the damn cars leaving. I got tired of seeing that crap. But, at least 50,000 of them are showing up before they left and not 8 like some of you damn people got.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, Craig Osterberg, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Here's another point. Hey, and baseball is the ultimate team sport because usually one guy, unless it's a pitcher, can't beat another team by himself. I mean, if there was a guy that could do that, Barry Bonds, I think we saw could do that from time to time. Shohei Otani can do it. So the Dodgers are going to have the best player, offensive player, on either team, and he is probably the most motivated player on either team. Now, he's never been in this situation, so we'll have to see how that goes. So I think that's a factor, too, that plays in the Dodgers' favor. When you have the best player, if your best player plays to their capability, that in and of itself makes it very difficult for the other team to beat you.
Yeah, and you mentioned World Baseball Classic. He's playing for his country there.
Yes.
He's playing. He's honoring his country and trying to win the championship for his country there. There's no more pressure than that. I mean, now you got a whole country that's on your ass if you get beat. I don't know if that's the case over there, but whatever. There's pressure right there. Him and Yamamoto lived through that and performed very damn well. So, there's a lot of things to look at there. Just the fact, like I said, Case, we keep forgetting he almost won the daggone Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I don't care. I know the Padres. That's another thing pisses me off.
I don't blame him. I have no problem.
They sit him out. Whatever. Okay. Do whatever you got to do there.
Ted Williams didn't do it, but I don't have a problem with him.
No, I agree. Hey, Pete Rose wouldn't have sat out. Hit a plate every damn inning.
My point is, I think he would have sat out if he wasn't the leader because I think they sat him out mainly because they just were doing it because of the situation at hand. As far as their ability, they're not needing to win the game. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that's kind of where I don't have a problem with that. But here's another deal about Otani.
Done to break up a no-hitter. Hell with you. I'm old school. But anyway,
some more nuggets from our Tim Neverett conversation. He mentioned that when you get to see Shohei Otani behind the scenes, like he gets to see Shohei Otani, you get a real feel for just how big his brand is. He's not a person anymore. He is a brand. And, I mean, he is like internationally, like he's on the side of buses. I mean, everywhere he goes, he is like bigger than human. And he has to deal. So when you're talking about pressure, just being a great player to begin with all of the expectations that everybody back in Japan have put on him from the time he's come over here, this dude's been dealing with that type of pressure for a long, long time. So, and I'm not quite sure that the people in Japan care if he wins a World Series in the United States. I think they care that he continues to be a good player here. That's more of a specific Dodgers thing. So he's been dealing with the pressure those people have been putting on him for a long time. So dealing with pressure is just kind of something that being Shohei Otani.
He's Elvis, man. Some of our younger viewers may not remember. They probably heard of Elvis Presley, but he's freaking Elvis. You can't get in a car and go down and get a big gulp at the convenience store because people are going to mob him.
Right.
He's a brand. He's like you said. He's on the side of buses. He's a new Elvis. I mean, he is. He's larger than life in a lot of ways, and his own it is. He can't change that. No. He's great at what he does. He's great in his country. He's coming to the Dodgers. He's got the massive contract, but he performed. The home runs, the stolen bases, almost win the Triple Crown. So it just continues to grow. His brand's it just continues to grow, and that's something like you said, Casey. This isn't new to him. He got a whole country has been. Yeah. Japan had been doing that to him.
I'm not sure this pressure is as much as the pressure they put on him.
Absolutely, that's what I was saying too. And I think if a guy can deal with pressure, he's probably he's been doing his whole adult life. Yes.
Yeah. If you're looking for reasons why you shouldn't be worried about whether he can handle this environment or not, that's kind of the reasons we're giving there. Hey, by the way, Milwaukee has a 5-3 lead on the New York Mets in the top of the ninth. Detroit, we mentioned earlier, beat Houston 5-2. That one is over, and Kansas City beat Baltimore. So, hey, we've had a wonderful crowd tonight. Another thing that, Tim, you can hear my Dodgers dog. You know what that means this time. They're getting ready. The barn over here is getting ready for his walk. Yeah, he heard his name. But let me hurry up and get this out so I can mute myself so they don't have to hear barn in the background talking the entire time. But the biggest thing he said offensively, that, yes, it's great that the Dodgers hit home runs, but Tim said specifically the Dodgers have to execute. They have to get guys on, they have to get them over, and they have to get them in. So they need to execute the game of baseball and not just rely on the home run. I found that interesting that a guy that is that close to the team, that talks to the manager every day, and Dave Roberts, that probably talks to Andrew Friedman on a consistent basis, made that statement about that being probably the key to the Dodgers offense for the postseason.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, they know what it looks like the other way, just trying to hit home run and home run. That wasn't successful. A lot of teams have tried that.
That's great when it happens.
It's great if you just go out and bang people and just dominate people. It doesn't happen because everybody's throwing their dudes out there, and you have to execute the game. If you're going to sacrifice bunch, you got to get the stinking thing down. You got to move runners. You got to steal a base when you can.
That's what he said.
Hit behind the runner. How about that? Hey, I know a two-strike approach. They don't want to hear that crap in the big leagues. Like me and you teach at high school, just put the ball in play, get two-strike approach. At some point, somebody needs to get a stinking two-strike approach, hit the ball behind the runner, get a guy over, give yourself up for it. I don't like the Astros, but I remember several years ago when they won it, they did that several times. I saw Altuve doing it. The guy who swings for homers every time, looks like he punches one to right field. They scored 3 runs with 1 hit. I'll never forget that inning. That's the year they won the World Series. So, you have to do whatever it takes now from this point forward. Moving runners is huge for every team, not just the Dodgers.
We're going to go till 9:30. It is actually it's 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 our time. So we have about 8 more minutes to answer your questions here. We've had a wonderful, fun show. I think we're probably just kind of pumping ourselves up as much as anything. What we like to do from our positive brains, we have trained ourselves being in the game of baseball our entire lives, that if you give in to the negativity, it's a never-ending cycle because there's so much negativity in the game.
Yep.
So what we've trained ourselves to do is to think of all the reasons why things will work, right?
Yep.
And not why things won't. And so that's kind of what you're going to see on this show is to all the reasons why we think the Dodgers will win. Now, you got to cover the reasons why they wouldn't, but we have total belief in our team and total belief in our wonderful crowd out here. Tomatley says, completely agree, Coach Holt. Padres have been running with confidence against us since the 22 postseason. The division-deciding series might have reinstalled self-doubt in them. Yeah. That went to show that the Dodgers can take their best blow and pretty much sweep them without a triple play.
Yeah, the triple play, you're thinking, these are professional players. Their dauber wasn't down they won the next 2 games. So, no, it's exactly right. Going into that, I mean, that could have turned out to be a bad deal, but it wasn't. The Dodgers came right back and won the next 2 to go away and win the division like they had planned. And so there's so many ways to look at it. Like you said, Case, we look at it from a positive. Baseball, and again, I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody loves the game. No, what I'm getting ready to say, it's a game of failure. And your success depends on how you handle the failure. Let's just face it,
Yes.
like we're talking about. We know how they can get their ass beat by a good team. We know.
And we can sit here and come up with every reason why they're not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, we all know.
I personally can't do that, though. That just is no fun.
We all know how that can happen. We all know how that can happen. But you coach, I coached. Whether it's baseball, I coached basketball, I coached football. I coached every day to win every freaking game. My wife told me I was nuts a couple times because we're up 40 points of basketball and I'm going crazy out there. I said, I'm not coaching to beat bad teams. I'm coaching to beat the good teams, and we don't beat a good team. We're doing that crap. And that's just a little high school basketball coach in Oklahoma. That's the way coaches think. That's the way managers think. That's the way competitive people think. It's a game of failure. You'll have to you can't – it's a next pitch case. We've all said it. Hey, next pitch. I don't care what just happened. I don't care if the umpire rung you up on one, 8 inches off the plate. Next pitch. I don't care if you just got hit 500 feet. Next pitch, because you can't do anything about the last one. And this is all preaching to the choir to baseball people, but good Lord, it's the same thing in the big leagues. Next pitch, man. Let's go.
Yeah, and that brings you into the next comment here from Keep It Moving. I'm glad the media is putting the Padres ahead of the Dodgers. It'll put a chip on their shoulder. Vegas knows between, though. Haha, yeah. So another one of those deals to where if the Dodgers needed any more incentive, hey, the Dodgers don't need any more incentive other than the fact that I'm telling you right now, I have talked to one today that are inside the organization, that talk to the people that are at the top that make all the decisions, okay? It is World Series or bust for them as much or more than it is for the fans right now. They are practicing and preparing and approaching everything that they're doing like we either win the World Series this year or this year has not been a success. So if you're worried about fans feel that way, right?
Yeah,
or at least make the World Series. We know it's very difficult to actually win it. It takes more than just a great roster. I assure you, like I said, I've talked to guys inside the organization. That's how they're viewing this. This is either we win the World Series, make the World Series, or it's bust, man, or it's a bust of a season. That's how they're viewing this. I can assure you that.
Well, there's no other way of looking at it. I mean, look what they did, Case. Look, the money the Dodgers spent, the greatest player in the world, they open the checkbook up, go get him. There's no doubt they've been we mentioned this way a long time ago, and I'm sure you have on your other podcasts for the Dodgers Daily Network. They've been all in for a long stinking time. They've been all in for the last 2 years. Now they just 10 times that this year went all in. As we mentioned, they won the preseason and won the trading deadline. They're not set back waiting on anything. They're not trying to build a program. There's no 5-year plan in this deal. It's what they're all preparing for is pitch one on Saturday night. I promise you. Yes, the goal is to win the World Series, but they're planning on pitch one Saturday night and then pitch two and let's go.
Yeah, and one thing that he said that obviously is I think it's pretty obvious is that if you don't win the World Series, I mean, it's not like you just start getting rid of Shohei Otani and start firing people and make knee-jerk reactions. That's not what that means. I just wanted to really emphatically get through that these guys within the organization are as rabid about winning this World Series as all of the Dodgers fans are. It is equal. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, we have a great crowd. Coach Tony, does the skip set the tone? Does the skipper set the tone in the clubhouse? So as a manager, what can you do to get the right tone set?
I started to say that a while ago when you were talking about how do we get the guys to relax?
Yes,
yes, they're going to. And again, I'm not in the dugout with Dave Roberts. Maybe you have been, Case. I haven't been in the dugout with him, but all indications from what I see and watching the games, he's pretty under control. You don't see him going nuts. I mean, he'll chew on an umpire's ass every day.
Well, his steal with the Red Sox ought to show you that his nerves are under control.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to feed off him. I mean, he's not running around throwing his cap like your coach used to in American Legion and kicking shit and kicking stuff and getting all mad. So I think they will feed. Yes, I don't think there's any doubt. Not only the manager, if they can feed off the pitcher's going to feed off their pitching coach, how he approaches the game. The base coaches are the guys who are hitting the fungos or working with the infielders before game. Everybody getting their drill work in before the game. The mentality, but to answer that question, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to feed off their manager. And he's not scared. He's won world titles before as a player and a manager. he's not intimidated. He's not scared, and he's not. The moment's not going to be too big for Dave Roberts.
It's not. It's absolutely
not. It's not going to be too big for him.
Now, he might make bad decisions because sometimes that happens.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be because he choked or anything like that. Yeah.
That don't mean he's not going to make a bad decision that blows up in his damn face, because that's baseball. I've made thousands of them in 34 years as a coach. And sometimes you get lucky and they work and everybody thinks you're smart. And you thought,
sometimes you make the wrong decision and it works and you're like, okay, I'm not telling anybody how stupid that was.
That's what I'm saying. I put a guy in there expecting him to get lit up and he throws 3 shutout innings. You're a genius. I had no clue.
Yeah.
So that shit happens all the time. It just does. So
it does. It does. So, hey, man, if you can't tell, we are absolutely pumped. Motley, in some ways, the disappoints in the last 3 years are like the 14, 15, and 16 disappoints leading up to 2017, which we won't mention what happened, the trash throws and that deal.
Yeah.
Definitely think the organization as a whole is as motivated as ever. That's really been the theme of this show for me. Yeah. I promise you they are. They are as motivated as the fans are, and I cannot wait. Dodgers versus Padres, NLDS again. Freeman made the splashy moves last offseason, but I hope he uses this offseason to create a more balanced lineup, which is too heavy with power over contact swingers. I think you saw that with Tommy Edman.
Yep.
I think that was a great pickup. And put money into the bullpen. Those are great comments, Norm. We're going to have to leave it with that, Coach, unless you have any final thoughts. I think this has been a great show, a lot of fun.
Very clutch right there. I agree with you. No matter what happens the rest of the year, they'll fix those holes. They've wanted Tommy Edman for a long time. I promise you, there's other guys they've got their eyes on. If they
haven't necessarily wanted him because he's a great player, which he is.
Yes.
They've wanted him because of the style, like what Norm's saying there.
Absolutely. Right. Norm's absolutely correct. He nailed it right there, and that's a good way to end the show. No matter what happens this year, we're praying for a World Series title, and that's what we're shooting for. But in the offseason, their base for the Dodgers for a while is set. So they're not going to have to do big splashes. They're set. I mean, come on now. I mean, those cats they've got are set for a while. So
I don't want to let myself think like that. Like, okay, if we don't win it this year, we still have 4 or 5 years, and I can't let myself go.
No,
screw that. Win it this year. Get that first one out of the way.
And
right?
if you don't win, you weren't good enough. So now we got to fix that. He's absolutely correct. What do we got to do to be better?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Going to end on that, Coach.
All right, man. Love you guys and dogs, all the fans, all those comments. I don't see them, but it doesn't matter. I know you're there, and I know you're passionate for the Dodgers. You love the Dodgers, just like we do, and we're all that energy is going to flow towards Southern California.
It is.
Saturday night, Case.
Can't wait, man. I'm so
me
pumped.
in Hickville, Oklahoma here, the old Hickville high school coach, it's heading that way, baby. Feel it. You people in California, feel it coming. Let's go.
So pumped. Can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait, Coach.
Love it.
Coach, great to see your face. Usually it's first thing in the morning when we record. Now it's last thing before we go to bed. So, I love you. Great to see your face, man.
Love you too, man. And love our Dodgers, love our Dodger fans, and I can't wait for Saturday night. Let's go.